Hello friends, my name is Sarah of Smart Reiki and Tarot. I offer 30-minute Reiki or tarot sessions for $30. Check out my website, smartreikiandtarot.com, for more information and where you can email me. All right, let's get into it. This week, this video will be the hashtag 22 double take. So I know I'm a little behind the curve, but I thought this hashtag was fun. I saw a few people do it and I wanted to jump in and do it as well. The first tag is your 2 most used decks this year. So every year, my most used deck is always going to be the Thoth deck. I just love the Thoth deck. It just really sparks my intuition. There's nothing like these images to really just speak to my subconscious and cut through the chatter of my conscious mind and just let me hone in on the messages of the cards. So this is always and will always be my most used deck, hands down. I try to use other decks for readings, and sometimes my brain just goes, what? My second most used deck, even though it's a fairly new deck that I got towards the end of the year, was the Clarity Tarot. At the beginning of the year, I was trying to use a new deck a week and do my tarot card pulls daily with that. But I gave my friend Kate a tarot reading with the Clarity Tarot the other day, which was a lot of fun. The only thing is that I find that the writing on the cards puts me in my conscious mind and I'm not able to get the psychic hits. So if you're just having an off day and you just want to do a quick 1-card pull for a question, this is it. So I think that for me, if I'm gonna give readings, when I'm giving readings professionally, this would just be used as a clarifying deck, but I can't use it in readings. I get too caught up in what it's saying and I'm like, it's all right there. What do I need to do? So that's what I've discovered with the Clarity Tarot, which that's fine. I will still get to use it because I can pull clarifying cards, but it won't be the main deck I use. The next prompt is your 2 favorite new decks for tarot. So from 2022. So both of these are from 2022. My favorite decks are the Cute and Creepy Tarot. And I've done a flip through of this. So if you want to see the cards, I just really love the images. It's really cute and really creepy. And I just adore this deck. So this is just a blank card. And then this is about the artist Misha. And then here are just a few of the cards. I just absolutely adore these cards, the artwork. She really took her time, and I like the edging. They're gold edged, and the cards are basically a standard size tarot deck. So that's nice. They're nice and slippery, so they're easy to shuffle, which if I don't like the cardstock, I'm really not going to reach for the tarot deck. So I do really enjoy everything about this deck. Shuffling is half the experience with tarot, and so if it shuffles well, I'm going to reach for it. But look at this cute little creature right here. So I love this deck. It's super cute, super whimsical, totally my vibe. It's a lot of fun. And so I may not have used it that much or played with it that much. I used it for about a week and a half while I was trying it out so I could do the review. But I haven't reached for it as much as I should. But now that I'm getting back into doing daily card pulls and readings for myself, I probably will. And then of course the Clarity Tarot again. I just really love the artwork and using this for clarifying. All right, the next prompt is your 2 favorite books from 2022. So the year of 2022 was the year of tarot, meditating, and reading for me. So I read the most books I've read since graduating college in 1 year. I read last year 43 books, and it was kind of difficult for me to just pick two. So I'm going to have two favorite fiction, two favorite nonfiction, and then some runners up. So my two favorite fiction books, the first one, like all time, hands down favorite, I read it and I just absolutely loved the writing and the setting and the plot and the characters and just everything. And I wanted to be in the book, was called A Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. Love that book. It's so cute. And you would think that it wouldn't be so whimsical because in this universe, in this world, witches are orphaned. They lose their parents at a young age and they can't live with other witches and they can't tell people. So they have to be in hiding and they live very solitary lives. So this witch, she starts doing YouTube videos, witchy YouTube videos. So she's hiding in plain sight. I just thought that was super cute. I love the story. I loved everything about it. I highly recommend it. And then the second one was a mystery thriller, almost kind of like a gothic tale set in modern times. It was called The Housemaid, and I stayed up way too late reading that. I needed to know what was going to happen next. There was an amazing twist that I didn't see coming. And I loved how things weren't just spoon-fed to you and foreshadowed so you knew the ending, because usually when that happens, I can guess the ending. And key details were withheld and key information until the end. So you want to keep reading because you want to know more about the protagonist. You want to know, why did she go to jail? Why did her family abandon her? Who is this woman? What's going on? And then you also want to learn more about this woman who's acting very much like a diva, like really bad behavior. The woman who hires the protagonist to be the live-in maid comes across as horrible. She is so mean and she acts like she's bipolar. Like 1 minute she's super friendly and nice, and then the next she's mean and rude, and just, it's kind of like you get whiplash reading the book. So I really recommend it. Now, close seconds were The Maid. That book was interesting. I like the protagonist. She was unique. She lived with her grandmother and she's a little socially awkward, but her attention to detail in that story, I really enjoyed it. There were some things that were left undone, so I could see a sequel, but it's probably, for the most part, a standalone. And then this one's a young adult. It's called Belladonna, and this one's a young adult fantasy, and it has a very fairy tale quality. And again, the protagonist lives a very lonely life. She's orphaned at a young age, and she lives with distant relatives. At first, she lives with her grandmother, and that's great. And then she goes to distant relatives, and it's her relationship to death. And to her, death is a very real being ever since she was a child. And it's the story about how she goes to live with her cousins and she thinks she wants to fit into high society and have her debutante, like go to a debutante ball, and then she realizes that it's not all that great. She doesn't like the rules and how uncomfortable it makes her, and the clothes and just everything. So it's interesting that I like two books about two young women who are loners and very isolated. Well, actually, really, most of these books are about isolated young women who are lonely and trying to find their place in the world. But those were my favorite fiction books. Now, my favorite nonfiction was Moving Mountains by my friend Audra, Renee Weeks, and I did an interview with her. I will link the video up above so you guys can watch it. Reading her story and how she's overcome her trauma was upsetting, especially reading, empathizing with her, and she's my friend. It was just, and these were things I didn't know. I mean, you don't talk to your friends about these things. Those are the things you talk to your therapist about. And just seeing how she's moved through life and overcome the traumas is amazing. And I am so in awe of Audra, and the fact that she was brave enough to put pen to paper and tell her story to help other people is amazing. So for her bravery alone, I love the book, but then also the writing was really well done. And it's very difficult to write a good book that's succinct and that makes sense and that flows. I'm reading a book right now about Manly P. Hall that there's details given that have come out of the blue. There's a lot of name dropping. And this woman who wrote the book is supposedly a professional writer, and this book needs major editing, and it needs to not name drop so much. If you need to name drop in your books, you're not writing a good book. Just a tip for writers. I read a lot, and especially nonfiction. I love nonfiction. I love learning about people's lives and experiences and how they've moved through life. And reading an amazing biography or memoir is like really stepping into their shoes. And when it's badly written, poorly written, it's just really jarring. So Audra, I loved your book. It's definitely one of my favorite books I read of 2022. And then I finally read a good ghost hunting book. It's called The Witch's Guide to Ghost Hunting. And it's really a primer on how to go about ghost hunting. And it lays the framework of maybe what tools you could need for like technology, but then also like how you can use tarot cards and your pendulum and your spiritual tools to use while ghost hunting. And also some of the ethics that should go into ghost hunting, because it shouldn't be taken lightly. It's not all fun and games. So that book was really well written as well. So the next one is favorite movies and TV shows of 2022. Now this was kind of difficult for me because I couldn't remember and nothing really stood out. And of course you're thinking, in the last 3 months, anything that's more recent. But I was looking at what was released in 2022. And I remembered that I dragged my husband to the movie theater to see Everything Everywhere All at Once. And I absolutely loved that movie. I loved the multiverse in the movie. I loved the absurdity of the movie. Just everything. I love that movie. I haven't watched it recently, so it's not fresh in my mind to talk about the plot, but Everything Everywhere All at Once, it blew me away. I remember just feeling like the movie had just begun and then it was over and I was like, that was it. Now, I have not seen Avatar, the new Avatar, and I heard that's phenomenal. And the same thing with that even though it's over 3 hours long, it's so entertaining and it's so fast paced that you don't realize you've sat there for that long. I typically don't like movies over 90 minutes. I like 90-minute movies. 2 hours is pushing it. 3 hours is usually a hell no. I'm not sitting in the theater for that long. I have seen Gone with the Wind in the theater. It was nice when we saw that in the theater. They do give you intermission. That helps. But yeah, 3-hour movies, I don't know. I'm going to wait until Avatar comes out on DVD to just watch it at home. And my second favorite movie, this is an unpopular opinion, and anyone who's been watching me for the last year will probably guess what movie it is. It's Don't Worry, Darling. I loved the cinematography. I loved the set design. I loved the costumes. I even love the story and the mystery, and it keeps you guessing. It was pretty well written. There was only one discrepancy that I kind of noticed, but for the most part, the movie was really well done. And I don't know why I got so much hate. I think that might be something political behind the scenes with Hollywood that I don't need to know about, and I don't really care because good writing is good writing, and the script was really good, and the story was amazing, and I liked, again, the twist. And plus, I just really relate. We live in this community that was built in the late 60s, early 70s, in the middle of nowhere. We are in the middle of the desert. And watching this movie, it makes me think that this community was thriving at one point. There's a community center. There used to be like a country club and a golf course and a pool and all this stuff and a bank and a doctor's office, and there used to be more here. So it's this really self-contained community. So maybe it's just because I relate. We moved to the middle of nowhere. There's nothing around us. You really need a car. I mean, obviously, we move here of our own free will and we're not held captive. So, sorry, spoilers. So, yeah, I just really kind of related to the movie on a different level than maybe if I was still living in Phoenix. I also, the music, the costumes, like I said, I can't, and just the sense of community. At first, it seems really nice. You're like, oh, okay. They all get together. The opening scene is they're having a party. They're celebrating their husbands and they're drinking and having fun. And the women seem really close. So do the guys, the husbands. And then as the movie goes on, you're like, yeah, something's not right. And Florence Pugh was amazing. She was so good. I still have to see Midsommar. I'm a little nervous. I don't like gory movies, so that's what's stopping me from seeing it. But I kind of want to go and watch all the movies she's been in and TV shows because she's really good. I really like her. I think she's emerging as a new favorite actress. All right, so the next thing is 2 crafts and hobbies related to 2022. Now, I didn't really do any crafts per se. At my parents' house, when we went, we painted some rocks and I painted some ornaments. That's it. That's all I did for crafts. But my hobbies are really, filming YouTube, reading, giving myself tarot card readings and my friends, and collecting tarot. So this is my tarot notebook where I put my daily spreads. So let's see when I started using this, because I use different notebooks. Oh yeah, I have stuff in here from 2019. But yeah, I just write down like my card of the day. And then also this has my notes. So you can see my card of the day here. And then kind of like how I relate to that card and how it relates to the day and just notes from the day. So that's like kind of my main hobby. And then of course my second hobby is reading. But to the end of the year, that's all I was doing. I was reading like a book a day. I can't keep that up. It's just, there's too many other things to do. But those were my hobbies. The 6th prompt is, what were 2 big splurges for you in 2022? So our first big splurge was moving to Pierce and buying a house. That's a huge splurge. And our second splurge was taking a trip cross country where we stopped in Austin, Texas, New Orleans, Asheville, North Carolina, and then we went all over New England to a bunch of places, including Salem and the Big E, Hampton Beach, Portland, Maine. So Nikolai could say he's been to Portland, Maine and Portland, Oregon. We were going to stop in other places like Cleveland, Ohio to see Buckland's Museum of Witchcraft. We were going to stop in Memphis, Tennessee, and we were going to stop in San Antonio, Texas. However, we got sick on our trip. We had to stay with my parents for a week longer than we had planned to. And so then we also weren't feeling up to driving 12, 13, 14-hour days to get to those destinations. So we just drove 8 hours at a time. So we ended up stopping in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. So we stopped and saw the Capitol. We stopped in, I don't remember the other stop. And then we stopped in Roswell where I met Cindy Rhodes. And I did a video, I will link that above as well, with Cindy. She's an amazing artist and author. And I hope to get her back on the channel and interviewing her this time about her books that she writes. She does sell her books on Amazon, which is so cool. I had seen her books for sale in her little section of the art gallery where she was set up, but I only bought her doll Althea. And for Christmas, I bought my parents one of her penciled prints, her pencil prints. So anyway, those were our splurges of 2022. Those were pretty big splurges. And then 2 things that you are most excited about in 2023. So in 2023, I'm very nervous. I will be setting up the first Saturday of February and March at the Small Business Market in Sierra Vista, doing tarot and Reiki sessions for people. I'm really nervous. I haven't done anything like that in this county yet. When I lived in Phoenix, I rented a table, well, not really a table because I had a chair, to do Reiki at a psychic fair at Storm Wisdom. Really ended up just doing trades all day. So I didn't make my money back, but that's okay. It was fun. You get to meet people. This isn't necessarily so much like-minded people, since it's any and all small businesses. It's mainly artisans and artists and people who crochet and make handmade goods. But there's still some really cool people and vendors there, so I'm looking forward to it. So that's one thing I'm looking forward to. And the second is, this was my New Year's resolution, is to learn how to crochet. So I want to start making crochet little tarot bags. I think they're so cute. So that's my goal, but yeah, I haven't even opened the kit yet. I've been busy trying to get back into meditating daily and doing tarot pulls. I've taken some time off. I needed a break. Everyone needs a break, and it's just for the holidays, spending a lot of time with friends and neighbors, and it was just busy. It was Nikolai's birthday month last month, so we were just busy doing other things. You know, we're getting slowly back into the rhythm of our lives of, you know, Nikolai painting for a few hours a day, and then me doing meditation and tarot and reading. I would love to hear you guys do this tag as well and hear about your 2022 and your plans for 2023. And this was a lot of fun. So I will see you all next time. Bye, guys.